Hello and welcome to another episode of Catholic Chapter House Video. I am your host, David Gilbert, and today we are going to talk about the new evangelization. So I'm going to get into sharing you a story, then we're going to talk about what the new evangelization is and isn't, and then we're going to talk about the urgency of the new evangelization. So before I start, I'll share with you the story. So yesterday was the solemnity of the birthday of St. John the Baptist, and so I was there. It's an important feast day for me on many levels. I'm French-Canadian heritage, so St. John the Baptist holds a particular place in my devotion. And there was a high school graduation mass. It was happening at the daily mass. So the graduation mass was there, and just the lack of reverence during the mass, and then going up to the communion, in line, people were joking, talking, looking back at each other, making comments. Some of the students didn't even know how to receive the Eucharist, even on their hand. But the kicker was this. After Mass was done, a Catholic school board trustee came up to the microphone, and she said this: "I bet you woke up this morning and you didn't think you'd be going to Mass and then hearing a speech from your trustees." And I'm like, excuse me? She basically equated the Mass being boring, and it's going to be just as boring as her talk. And I'm sorry, I sound like I'm out of breath right now, but it's just my adrenaline is getting up on even sharing the story with you. But I'm just like, Lord have mercy. Here is a so-called Catholic trustee speaking to the high school graduates of a Catholic school, and she just belittled the Mass that just took place. That just shows the state of our Catholic education system right there. I'll just leave it at that. So, sorry. Trying to calm down now. So, with Pope Benedict XVI on June 28th, 2010, on the eve of the feast of St. Peter and Paul, the Pope said that the process of secularization has produced a serious crisis of the sense of the Christian faith and role of the Church. And the new Pontifical Council, which is relating to the Pontifical Council that looks after the new evangelization, would promote a renewed evangelization in countries where the Church has long existed, but which are living a progressive secularization of society and a sort of eclipse of the sense of God. And I think that just sums up what the new evangelization is, and that just further emphasizes the eclipse of the sense of God and the radical secularization of the faithful with the story that I just shared with you. So, you hear all the buzzwords all the time: new evangelization, new evangelization. So what is so new about the new evangelization? So many people think the new evangelization is using videos, social media, apps on smartphones, but it's not. These are tools to evangelize, but it's not what makes the new evangelization new. So what makes the new evangelization new is that we're having to evangelize a secularized world that has been de-Christianized. For instance, former Christian countries in Europe, North America, and sadly even now South America are now considered mission territories, where we have to bring the gospel to them, where once you didn't have to. So to paint a picture, though, of the urgency of the new evangelization, because some of you might be thinking, well, South America, they have a lot of Catholic stuff going on. all the time. It's in their holidays. It's deep-seated in their culture. And even if you look at other communities, even throughout the West, even in the United States, you have the Italian community, the Polish community, the Filipino community. They're all, really Catholic, in their celebrations and everything like that. But that's only hitting the surface, and it doesn't go deep. And you know what? The stats don't lie. So I want to paint a picture to you of the urgency of the new evangelization. And the reason why it's urgent is that souls need to be saved, and we're losing souls every day. And it is our responsibility as Christians, by our baptism, to bring the good news to others, and to admonish the sinner, which is a corporal act of mercy, so we need to bring these souls back to Christ. We need to bring these souls back into communion with Christ. Be one with His church. Have His mercy, everything like that. So I'm going to read some statistics right now. Some of them you might know, some of them you might not. Overall, though, it is shocking, and it's in no way meant to be negative or make you lose hope, because our hope is in the Lord, and the Lord has risen. He has conquered death, and so the victory is already won. But here on earth, we still have to do battle. That is why we're called the church militants. We still have to do battle here on earth until the end of time. And so this is to more of a wake-up call, and to give a better picture rather than trying to make you discouraged. So Catholics who go to Mass more than once a week, or spend a single dollar on Catholic books or other media, or volunteer for any parish activity, the grand total for the United States of America is no higher than 1.2 million. So out of 70 million Catholics, only 1.2 million people are, involved in their church and in their faith. And so that's only 2.4% of the Catholic population. 2.4%. Now it just gets better. 75% of Catholics don't believe in the real presence in the Eucharist. 75% of Catholics. Yet how many Catholics are going up to receive Him? Only 5% of Catholics practice natural family planning. That means 95% of Catholics are contracepting, which goes against God's law and also church teaching. 68% of Catholics support same-sex marriage. And Catholics as a subgroup are above the norm for acceptance of same-sex marriage. So Catholics are, sad to say, leading the charge by demographic for same-sex marriage. 20% of Catholics attend Mass every week. And 32% of Catholics say they rarely or never attend Mass. So more people are rarely or never attending Mass than those who go to Mass every week, which we should, because it's our obligation to, and one of the 10 Commandments, to keep the Sabbath holy. And the Dynamic Catholic Institute, so that's the institution that Matthew Kelly started, they did a study and they found that 6.4% of parishioners donate 80% of financial contributions to the parish. And 6.8% of the registered parishioners contribute 80% of the volunteer hours at the parish. And here's the kicker. And there's an 84% overlap in both groups. So you're almost looking at the same 6% or almost 7% contributing 80% of the donations to the church, and over 80% of the volunteer hours at the church. So there is a crisis. There is a crisis in society, and there's a crisis in the church. But it's because there is a crisis in the church, there is a crisis in society. We are not doing a good job bringing the gospel to others, and even to ourselves in the pews. And so, what are we doing? What are we doing? There's a disconnect. There's a disconnect between our faith and what it teaches, and how we follow and bring that to others. And so, we're not doing a good job showing our faith to others and how we conduct ourselves. There is no statistical difference between Catholics and the general population. So, we have become secularized. Even people who attend Mass, even those who attend Mass daily, have also become secularized. And so we need to evangelize everyone, both inside the church and outside. But ultimately, before we can do that, we must also go through a transformation and humble ourselves and evangelize ourselves before we go out to others. And so that's an important part. We shouldn't get on our high and mighty horse and point out people's faults, and we can't be hypocrites. We can't be hypocrites. And it's a constant journey and struggle, but we need to humble ourselves, and we must change before we can change others. And it's only through a personal relationship with Jesus Christ that we can change. Because when we encounter God, the Word of God, the Word made flesh, Jesus Christ, our lives are changed. And there's no way going back. Look at Abraham. Look at Paul. Look at Peter. Look at you and me. And if he hasn't radically changed your life yet, pray for that transformation. Pray that you may have that encounter with God, because your life will not be the same. So when we have a personal encounter with Christ, it is life-changing. And remember from last video, to evangelize means being a messenger of God. Being a messenger of the good news, and that good news is Jesus Christ. So anyone can be a part of the new evangelization. You don't need a computer, you don't need a phone, you don't need video, you don't need the internet. All you need is yourself and that one-on-one encounter with people. And sometimes that's just the small little encounters here and there that make an impact, that sow the seeds. And so let's change the world by bringing Christ to others, even those who are baptized. You are the new evangelization. Now go forth and spread the good news. That's it for today. Pray for me. I'll be praying for you. And remember, prepare yourself spiritually, be bold, trust in the Lord, and take action. Bye-bye, everyone. God bless.